Jermaine Kearse is up here. Seahawks Weekly, Dave Wyman, Brady Henderson also here. And one of the reasons I'm really excited, Jermaine, is not only are you one of my favorite guys on the team, but you're a Husky.
Go Dogs.
And earlier this week, this guy was part of something. They tried to hold an intervention for me to explain to me that the Huskies aren't good.
I don't understand that. We'll find out next week.
They told me this intervention that I've found optimism, reasons to be excited in this season.
I think Jake Brown is going to be really good.
Yeah, and that running back they got, a true freshman.
Gaskins, yeah.
Yeah, and the left tackle, Trey Adams, he's a true freshman too.
You know what's funny is last week we had Baldwin on here, who's a fellow Stanford guy, and I didn't suck up to Baldwin the way he's sucking up to you, Jermaine. This is ridiculous.
That's
Are you through, Danny?
Okay, yeah. You wanted to ask an actual football question, or do you want me to do more Husky?
Actually, I don't want to ask any football questions. Jermaine, do you want to sit here and talk about football?
I'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about.
Okay, there we go. Go get him, Danny.
All right, Jermaine Kearse is here. This is your 4th season in the NFL. And all of the different things, you had probably a little bit of a different challenge coming out of the University of Washington because you didn't go anywhere new. You've been surrounded. But your life has changed a lot. You're married now.
True.
You've got a full career in front of you here.
True.
You've got all these years of history. What's it been like to have that success in your hometown?
It's been great. It's been definitely a blessing. To be able to just be raised here and grow up here and then be able to play at Washington and then for the hometown, the Seattle Seahawks, and just to be able to play in front of my friends and my family and have them be able to watch this and experience it with me.
Yeah, so you went to Lakes High School, right?
Right, we're in the playoffs, by the way.
Are you again?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I remember watching you guys, I think, play when you were playing maybe against Skyline. Did you guys play Skyline that year?
Jokes, okay.
No, seriously,
because we lost. I did lose.
But it was a high school game. I don't even remember the result.
You did say, are you guys in the playoffs again? So that means we're obviously in the playoffs.
No question. Lakes is definitely a good. I really wasn't trying to jab you. I'll jab you later, but.
See, what you need to ask him is how many Skyline beat his school by. Were you guys even in the same conference?
See, I was coaching at Lake Washington and Interlake.
And they weren't in the playoffs losing to Skyline. Yeah. They were in the regular season.
And Kasem Williams burned my defenses for probably about 600 yards in 2 games. So, yeah, you can tell them about that. But, no, it's pretty cool that you've been here your whole life. You go to Washington now, the Seahawks. Were you even a Seahawk fan growing up?
I didn't really watch like professional sports or even college sports when I grew up. I was always playing basketball. I did a lot of traveling AAU basketball and just outside hanging out with my friends. I really didn't. I think my very first Seahawks game was against the Broncos when they played at Husky Stadium, and I think that was like my only one.
Yeah, is that the one where Brock Heward got
it wouldn't be the one. It was by John Mobley. John Mobley.
I think Brock had to go to the hospital.
He did. He was peeing blood, for God's sake. Yeah.
So here's a really mean thing. We work with Brock. Brock's like the nicest guy in the world. He's a great quarterback, and all we do is make fun of him. Like he was saying, he was colorblind last week, so he wouldn't have been able to tell the Bills and the Jets apart because they're red and the green. And we're like, well, that wouldn't have made any difference on how many interceptions you're going to throw. You're going to throw them anyway.
Yeah, we take a lot of delight in the fact that Brock got hit in the back and was peeing blood afterwards. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. I like that. Hey, so you got all these people here in town. Is it tough to manage with tickets? Do you tell people, here's this website you can go to get tickets? Because I think everybody assumes you can just get as many as you want.
Yeah, because they're not free.
Right.
They're not free, and they're expensive. But still, with tickets, I kind of keep it to immediate family. I guess the amount of people kind of go now that I'm married, so I kind of have my friends and family, and now my wife's friends and family. So balancing that out, I think we do a good job with it.
Hey, Jermaine, you've made a ton of big catches in your career. You can name them down the line: the NFC Championship game, in the Super Bowl, the kind of spinning catch. When you look back at some of those plays, what comes to mind? What do you think of?
Oh man. When I look back to just like my hard work, the hard work that I put into, each week, and just to go out there and then just make the most of each opportunity, and those plays are a testament to that. I truly go out there and try to just play my best and put my best film out there and do the best to have this team win.
Hey, real quick, Danny, on those catches, Jermaine, because that's the thing I've always said, you're like you've had some of the most clutch catches in the history of this franchise. I mean, you look in the playoffs, the Super Bowl, but what I want to know is, when you look at those things on film, do you have to sometimes look to see what you did? In other words, does that slow down? What are you thinking, or does it just happen so fast that you can't even remember?
It usually happens so fast I can't really remember. Like for the NFC Championship game against Green Bay, like when I caught the ball, I didn't feel him on my back. And when I watched it, I'm like, oh, he was like on my back. And so it happens like that. So sometimes I do have to go back and watch how it happened, like the Super Bowl catch when it's juggling around my legs and being able to haul that in. So I do got to go back sometimes to see like what exactly happened.
You know what's funny? You said I asked you about the NFC Championship game, and I was thinking 2 years ago against San Francisco. I forgot about the one last year. I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you pick a favorite?
You know what? I think my favorite out of just any touchdown.
Any touchdown
I think my
catch.
favorite one was against Carolina, the one hand over the shoulder, because it was like the perfect scenario. You catch a ball one-handed, you get to run down the field for maybe like 40 yards, and then you get to dive at the pylon. So that was like the perfect moment for me.
Yeah, it was nice because you were pushing him off. Well, I'm sorry.
Pushing off.
That
is
was the wrong
term.
term to use. You were fighting off that dirty, cheating DB who was trying to hold you, and then you caught it with the other hand. My favorite was, and I always say that, I wonder if you got dizzy on that Super Bowl catch.
That's a close number one, too.
You spun one way, and then you got hit, and you spun the other
Yeah.
way, and it kind of unwinded you, so you were able to go straight after that. But that was a big one right there. I mean, that was one of the better touchdowns in the history of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's a close. That's definitely top three.
We're joined by Jermaine Kearse here, and I will ask. This probably won't be my last question about one of these catches, but did you ever get the ball back from the NFC Championship game against the Packers?
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay. And was that a torturous transaction?
No, it was real cool, real smooth. The dude was real cool about it.
I thought he went to jail or something like that.
He was in trouble. We don't know if he went to jail. He probably was better off if he had not caught it and people had not seen him and said, I think that guy, I think 5-0 wants him. He's got a warrant out. When
You got him in trouble.
Yeah.
Jermaine.
What? No, he didn't. The guy got himself in
You
trouble.
threw it
by
right
not
to
showing-
him.
Yeah,
You threw it to the guy.
When you threw the ball, what was going through your head when you did that? Because it was everybody that was there, and that day, I will say that's a memory that is going to be burned into Seattle sports memory of what happened that game, and specifically for you, kind of the things that had gone on before that. What was going through your mind when you're in the end zone there and you guys are going to the Super Bowl?
It was kind of like a release of just like all the frustration that happened before. You know, there's 4 targets and you got 4 interceptions, and just that whole struggle to get to that point of the game. I think that was kind of more of just a relief moment for me.
How's married life treating you, Jermaine? I know for me it gave me a little bit more perspective. I got married in like my 6th or 7th year. First of all, I want to know, where and how did you meet your wife?
I met my wife in college, my junior year. She went to UW Tacoma. I went to UW Seattle, obviously. My best friend, his girlfriend at the time, now fiance, was friends with my wife back then, and so that she introduced. I used to always go to him like, Ryan, I know you got some friends, like hook a brother up. She did.
We've all had that conversation before.
Well, do you feel like you're indebted to him for that? Somewhat?
He brings it up a little bit.
Does he get free tickets?
Yeah, I mean, he's my best friend. He gets free tickets.
Okay, that's good.
Hey, Jermaine, speaking of the NFC Championship game, and we were talking about that game, and also just some of the different turning points you guys have had in the past couple seasons where you've really faced a crossroad and it's really turned things around. Looking back on those last couple seasons and that game in particular, does that give you guys some sort of faith that you could turn this season around?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a tough season. I mean, we lost some games that were close that we would have liked to finish. But, the season is a grind. The NFL is tough. And, we just got to grind every day and just compete to get better each day and just take it one day at a time.
I've been telling people that when you look at this season and compare it to last season, that the performance of the team probably isn't as far off as it looks like if you just judged by the record. And that any season there's ups and downs, and really a test of a team is its ability to keep playing as close as it can to the top of its potential and then seeing where things shake out at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to just executing, We just got to just execute plays right, penalties. them killing us. You can't start your first 4 or 5 drives first and 20. So that stuff is going to hurt us.
One of the things, you got Kevin Smith, who's a guy you know from UW, who's been promoted to the active roster this week. And I thought back, because it's probably about this time your rookie year that you ended up getting promoted. And for people that don't know, and Jermaine was someone who came into the draft with a lot of potential. Things happen in that lead up to the draft process. You end up coming to the Seahawks as an undrafted free agent, and you make such an impression in training camp. And I still think that's a big reason why Russell Wilson and you developed the rapport. But then you earned your way onto the active roster with your special teams play that first year.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had to work my way up, and you know, it was, like you said, it was probably around week 9 of my rookie year. I was on practice squad that I got activated, and just everything. Ever since then, I just haven't tried to look back. You know, however I could get on the field, I did. You know, whether it was special teams or just filling in wherever I could. I learned every position in the playbook to where there was an opportunity to get in the game, and they needed someone extra, I could go in. So I just continued to just grind and just worked hard and trying to eventually work my way up.
Do you think that path you walked helps you from week to week basis now? I mean, everybody would want to be the first round draft pick, chosen number 1 overall, but kind of the way you earned your way first onto the field and then onto the team, do you think that's helped you?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. I think it definitely made me like mentally tougher to understand that, you know, it's not going to come right away. So I knew I had to work for it, and you know, I think just the lessons and the kind of the struggle mentally sometimes throughout my first couple of years, it helps me now. So you know, I definitely have learned things from back in the past that now I can apply as I get older.
Yeah, I think because of that too, Jermaine, you're probably one of the better guys to give advice to younger guys, especially a couple of guys like Casey Williams and Kevin Smith. What kind of things do they come and ask you, and what sort of advice are you giving those young guys?
You know, I just tell them just to control the things they can control and just keep working hard. And, you know, the hard work is going to pay off. You know, I tell Casey and Kev, who are really grown, like I watched them from college, and now I see them on the team and just see their ability and just see how they've grown as a player and just how smart they are. You can see that, and I can see their growth, and they're just going to continue to just get better.
Are you surprised sometimes you see yourself giving advice and you're like, man, I was just a rookie, and now I'm like this grizzled veteran?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but, you know, I try to just help out however I can, you know. Whether with Tyler Lockett, you know, who asks a lot of questions. You know, he's always trying to figure out something. And it's cool to talk to them. It's cool to hear their story and get to know them. And that stuff I can really appreciate.
Have you guys heard that he does poetry?
He does spoken word, yes. And he's really good. He's really good at it.
You guys don't give him a hard time about it?
Nah, he's good at it. He's really good at it. He's done one for the receivers in our position group, and then he's done one in, I believe, in a team meeting.
Do they rhyme? Like, are they rhyming poems, or is it more?
They're good. They're good.
It's not like the man.
Take my word for it.
It's not the Man from Nantucket series, Danny. Okay, we're talking about sophisticated poetry here.
That would be the kind of poetry that I would probably be either write or be more familiar with.
Jermaine, tell us about Tyler Lockett, because I love that kid, man. He's one of the most wide-eyed, open, you know, rookies. I mean, I love him. You look at him and he talks like a 10-year vet, but it's not in a cocky way. It's like he wants to learn everything, it seems like.
Yeah, Tyler's real cool. I like talking to him because he talks so fast. Sometimes he doesn't really know what he's saying. He just talks, and then you gotta like kind of calm him down. And you know, sometimes he could be a little hard-headed. Like when we try to tell him, like, okay, hey, you know, this is how you should probably go about this situation. But then he's learning, you know, and we just continue to just try to help him grow and answer every question. Just be there when he needs us.
We've seen Tyler Lockett make a pretty big impact on special teams. And also during the preseason, we saw Kevin Smith do some things on special teams. How important is that for a young wide receiver, especially guys like Kevin Smith and you as a rookie, when you were a rookie who are fighting, you know, for a roster spot? How important is special teams? And also, I'm not sure if that was something you did a whole lot at UW. Was that something you really had to learn?
So special team, like at UW, I only did like one maybe like kickoff return. So I never did a gunner at punt, like the two guys on the outside. So that's something I did kind of had to learn. But I always kind of had a knack that I could, you know, make my way downfield, especially at gunner and kickoff. And so When I first started, I was terrible. I was getting jammed up, thrown out on the sideline, and then I just continued to just stick with it, and then I eventually got better at it, and then I was able to make an impact on it.
One of the things that we see, and we're talking with Jermaine Kearse here at Seahawks Weekly, our thanks to our sponsors, Bud Light, Heritage Distillings, batch number 12 vodka, as well as Legendary Donuts, Michael's Toyota of Bellevue, and Sparkling Ice. When you have something that happens like happened in Dallas with Ricardo Lockett, and that's a guy who's a really big part of your receiver room, and I know how close all of you receivers are. How hard was that for you guys to come back and play, and how has it been to see him since? It seems like he's got a great attitude about the comeback, but man, it was a really scary moment.
Yeah, it was definitely tough, especially in the moment. We all of the receivers were real close. We hang out outside the facility. We got a real nice bond, and to see one of your brothers go down like that, it kind of, you take a step back, and it makes you just realize how important the friendship is, and the relationship that you have with that person. But it's funny because we were watching film, and then Locke comes in the back room, and he's just screaming already, and like his presence is felt. So that's our brother, man. He has a really good attitude about it. He's doing really well, and we wish nothing but the best for him to get healthy and get back.
Yeah, let's everybody give a hand. Ricardo Lockett, our best wishes. This is the first time we've had a show since then that I've been here. It was really scary, and I know how important he is for you guys. As you look at this season and what's going to come down the stretch, how do you feel you guys are made up emotionally as a team? Does it feel like you guys have been able to hold together through some of these tough times?
Yeah, I mean, times are definitely tough, but, it's nothing that I don't think our team has faced. The years we've been to the Super Bowl, there's been adversity, and that's something that we're facing right now, and we just got to continue to just grind and just dig our way back out of it and just head on the right track. So I think we're gonna be fine. We got another opportunity ahead to make a difference and gain some momentum.
We had Doug here last week, and I said, well, who do you hang out with on the team? He goes, I hang out with those guys all day long. I don't want to see them after work. Is that true? Does Doug not hang out with you at all?
We have events sometimes where we hang out, but like for me, it's like I live in Bellevue, and they some guys live in Renton, 405 traffic. Not really
too
trying
much.
Yeah.
Well, now that you're married too, that changes things a little bit too.
Yeah,
right?
I gotta ask to hang out now, so it's cool though. I love hanging out with my wife.
Yeah.
Have you found any? I feel the same way. I love hanging out with my wife. Have you found any tricks? How you get out of asking to hang out? Like the different ways you do it? Because I usually like to explain to her we're going to do something she doesn't want to do at all. Be like, we're going to go. There's a game on that we're going to watch.
Yeah.
She'll be like, okay, you can go do that.
I'm finding some ways.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to call it camaraderie night or common karate night, as some guys pronounced it. But yeah, she understood that. So, but when you start to have kids and everything like that, then, I don't want to pry, but is that on the horizon anytime soon, or are you going to wait until after your career, or just see what happens?
Tell me he's being nosy.
Or are you going to be like Michael Bennett and say, I'm trying every night?
Trying
That's what
every
he
day.
says.
It was Bennett's line.
Or maybe just a dog.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Keep us posted on that.
Hey, Jermaine, I saw a couple weeks ago you were nominated for the NFL Salute to Service Award, and I know that that's a cause that is important to you, having grown up in a military family. Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing with that foundation?
Yeah, we just launched the 15-to-1 Jermaine Kearse Foundation in March, and it's for military youth in the military communities and supporting them and giving back. We just were able to bring 150 kids from Joint Base Lewis McCord, and we were able to bring them to Junior Achievement, which is a facility for financial. We were able to put them through programs to learn about finances. So it was real cool. They were excited. We were able to send 2 kids to Washington, D.C. on a senior field trip, so that was real cool. So it's continuing to grow, and we're just going to find ways to just give back.
What was it like for you growing up on JBLM, and what are some of the challenges that kids who grow up in military families face?
I think a big challenge is, how much they move. I talked to a kid that came to a camp that was on Fort Lewis, and he told me that he moved 4 times in 2 years. So just to adjust, make new friends, and adjust in the school system, that can be really tough.
Which branch of the service were your parents in?
My dad was in the Army.
Okay. Was he tough on you growing up? Was it drill sergeant like raising?
No, he wasn't drill sergeant like that. But it was, you know, he used to flick my ear so hard. That perked me right back up. So
Was he tougher than any coach you've had?
he was at the right time, I would say. But he would ride me, especially in basketball.
Yeah. And nobody's ever flicked your ear like that
Nah,
again?
Nope.
I'm going to ask you this, and this might be, it gets into the two, because I want to know when you have some of those catches you've had, and I think the first time I noticed it would have been week 1 against Carolina in 2013.
Yeah,
so
that was my first
you won.
touchdown.
Yeah, and the one where you had, and it's kind of spinning, and I can still think of it, and your feet clip the pylon when you do it. When you get that moment and the ball's up there, and Dave was asking you if it kind of slows down, do you find it's instinct? Is it technique? What have been some of the keys for you when you go back and look at how that catch was made?
It's a little bit of both. Just being able to, for technique-wise, I'll just try to put my body in a position to where, you know, I could make a play on it, where I can only get in the defender can, where I know my catch rate is, I guess you can say. And then the other part is just instinct, just being able to just track the ball and focus on it and be able to make the play.
I want to say there was a big one in Atlanta that year. Was it like a reverse or a throwback pass
Yeah,
or
the
something?
throwback, yeah. The same one Ricardo Lockett scored on.
Yeah.
It was the same play.
Yeah, okay. So, and that was kind of a toe tapping type of situation there, too, wasn't it? Didn't you have to barely get your feet in, or were you all the way in?
I think I was all the way in.
Yeah.
I think you had to out-leap the guy, though, right? The defensive back?
He was on my back, so I couldn't really jump.
It's funny how often defensive backs end up on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
you're
weird.
just able to wear them like a cape.
I guess. Is that what you want to call it?
That's weird.
Are you one of those receivers that always does this thing where you're gesturing for a flag? Do you do that? I haven't noticed if you do that or not.
No, not really. You know, I mean, we're so used to getting held. And so sometimes, you know, you just got to play through the flags.
I think
Yeah.
the PI against Jimmy Graham, or against
That was our
Tyrann
first-
Mathieu, that was the first
That was
one
our
of the
very
season, right?
first defensive PI call this whole season.
That's the first one you've gotten?
That's the first one we've gotten.
You guys are like
Wow.
minus 15 then if you compare to how many times it's been called on your defense.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how about playing against your defense out there? I mean, that's got to help you a tremendous amount. And what's it like going against those guys versus, you know, it's probably a breeze when you go into the game compared to the guys you're going up against.
It's real cool because, I mean, you're going against some of the best players. You're going against Sherm, going against Cam, Earl, you know what I'm saying? And just to be able to go against those guys and just work on the craft and then get their feedback is real cool because then you can just go and watch the film and then correct your mistakes, get better at it, and then you go try it on them again. And then you get their feedback. And it's a repeat process. So when we get out to the game, you know, we know what to do out there.
He is Jermaine Kearse, and really it's been, for me, being a reporter covering the team, I've loved watching your progression, the fact that you came in and made this team, the dent that you've made here to be the #2 career-leading receiver from the University of Washington, to come here and be off to the start in your career you are. I know you're headed toward great things. I really do appreciate you coming in here, spending some time with the three of us and talking to everybody. So everybody give Jermaine Kearse a huge hand for coming out here on a Thursday night.
I appreciate it.